So that's kind of what I want to move into. And Tommy, I want to focus on you and highlight you in this segment. You are 26th. The drop week, if you take all the calculations, drop week out, you are 26th in Road to Pro right now. And you and I have raced the track now for a couple of years together, and it's been enjoyable. Never had a problem. I don't think I've ever had a crossword with you on the track, not one time. And so, but we used to race around each other. Your iRating was similar to mine, you know, around 4,000, give or take. And we were depending on the track, one of us would be faster than the other. And then all of a sudden, about 6 months ago, you started getting faster. It's like, Tommy, well, I was like, I'll let Tommy by. Maybe he's faster. And I never caught back up with you. And then it kept happening. And then eventually, like, you're winning high strength of field races. And all of a sudden I'm like, Tommy's iRating's like $5,000, $5K. I'm like, what is going on? And then next thing I know, you're finishing in top 3 in strength of field races. Now your iRating's like hitting 6K. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And then all of a sudden now, I mean, you're winning strength of field races regularly. And your iRating's at like 6,500 or something right now, give or take a little bit. And so, like, the question is, and I also know something about you, and you'll confirm, and I trust what you're saying, that you run out of the box setups from setup shops because you don't know how to build from scratch. And just so happens you're with Pay to Win at this point, and you're running their sets, that you talked about that earlier from the website. So therefore, there's other people that are running Pay to Win sets. I'm subscribing to Pay to Win right now because I'm doing these setup shop reviews and I'm running some of their sets and testing them out. So you're faster than me with the same set. And that's what we do in driver development. Tracy's, we all get the same set, go run laps and start learning, to drive better. And so there is obviously something you figured out. I don't want you to give away the kitchen sink. And I also know you could tell everybody right now the feeling in the wheel, but we can't feel the same thing you're feeling, but we can figure it out. So I wanted you to tell the story kind of, and then maybe Brian and me and Tracy and Robert, if anybody on chat, I know there's several people watching us right now live. Just got a message with Cody Trinity. Cody Trinity just wrote a message in live chat. He said, Tommy, how's it going, brother?
I'm going good, Cody. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people, there's people watching right now. There's me. And even though you, just by listening to you, we won't necessarily be able to go out tomorrow and do what you're doing, but kind of help us get the mentality to help. So maybe we want to take that journey too. How do you go from a good iRacer at 4K to the best of the best, 26th in Road to Pro right now with a 6,500 iRating in like 6 months? I mean, you've done this in like 6 months, dude. How did you do it?
First thing is going back to what we were talking about earlier. You got to find the right people, and you got to look inward at yourself when you find the right people. I was with the right people 2, 3, 4 times, but I never looked inward at myself. I always looked outward. I was like, oh, I've had a really bad week here at Pocono. I've lost 400 iRating. It's not my fault. It's the guy building the set. He hadn't built it to my liking. He's not helping me the way he should be. But now with how I've developed and how over the last year, because I've been with Pay to Win, it'll be a year actually next week that I've been either sponsored by them, driving for them, helping them with their social media posts.
We just missed each other then because I left about February or March of last year. So
you left after you. I was actually there 2 weeks before you left. You were there. Okay. You were there at Dover because you and Doug Bell were in Dover together.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. And then we left right after that. Yep. So yeah, we barely we brushed elbows as we were walking through in and out.
And I would be remiss if I said going through the summer, I didn't fall back into my same pattern of trying to blame others for my shortcomings. Really, it came down to August where I got wrecked by one of my teammates because I drove him bad. He wrecked me back. Right. That was a wake-up call. Not even going to lie. As much as Ty and David helped me, I wasn't pulling my head out of my rear end to see their advice until that happened. I'm not going to name that teammate because he's still a teammate and he's a great teammate and he knows who I'm talking about, but I whole 100% deserved it. And from August on, I started looking out. I started taking Ty's advice. I started taking David's advice. I started listening to what Scotty was saying in these building sessions because like I said, I'm not a builder. We build like in August, Ty would host a B open room and we would go just run laps and build a set. I wouldn't listen. I would honestly just mute Discord while he was talking to Scotty about building the set. And I'd just go run laps because in my mind, that was making me better. And it was making me better. It's not that it was all in my mind, but I wasn't understanding how the car was functioning. I wasn't I can't go into garage and build the set. I don't understand that, but I understand enough of how to work my tires now because of them explaining. I know enough about what each thing does in the garage to know what each end of the car is doing and what to expect from each end of the car. So I have a better, and it's going to sound cliche, I have a better feel of my car. And I know that's a thing that's hated to say because I used to hate when it was told to me, but I do. I have a better understanding and I have a better feel because I know what parts of the car do now. I know how to work each part of the car to get a different feel. So just, you got to understand somewhat of the car does, and you have to find the right group of people, and you have to look outward. You can't always be blaming other people. You have to look inward.
So let me ask you this. So what is, so in order to go from, so you and I, okay, and you have to be, this is something that a lot of guys don't understand. And I even understand it that the iRating I have, right? So it's the whole iRating system, I think, is messed up a bit, right? Like, I understand that, like, if you're the one car and you're you're like, say you got a 5,000 iRating and the next closest person to you in the split's like 3,000, you got a bunch of like 1,000, like if you win the race, you might get 15 iRating. Like, I understand that. I'm cool with that. Like, no problem. Like, I completely am cool with that and think it's okay. But if you get third place, you might lose 5 or 10 or 15, right? But my issue is, like, if you get wrecked out in that race, you might lose 175 or 170. My record, I think my record loss of an iRating one race was a race like that where I was the one car, and I got wrecked out by somebody, and I lost like 164, 168, something like that in one race. It was just wiped me out. So with knowing the iRating system is like that, I mean, you did a quick journey, so you had to have cleaned up your driving a bit too, didn't you? I mean, it wasn't just finding the right people. It's like your incident points probably went down.
My incident points went down. I used to not qualify. I'd just start wherever iRacing gridded me. Starting position means a lot. Track position means a lot. And really just trying to, situational awareness is a big thing. Like, I can't remember who talked about it. I think it was Brian was talking about the high iRating versus low iRating. I'm the 5 car at this time coming up to lap the 24 car at Nashville. I expect the 24 car to let me go, and I'm just going to take my corner, and he don't move, and we end up wrecking, and I lose 40, 50 iRating.
Right.
It's just about situational awareness. You have to know who you're racing, and you have to be aware of what might happen. You just have to keep putting yourself in a good spot. And going back to what you said about the iRating system, don't focus on iRating. I stopped focusing because I kept putting myself, I got to be at a 5K before Road to Pro starts. I got to be at a 5K. Yep. I've got to be at a 5K. Every time I had a bad race, I would beat myself up over it. Yeah. Because people say I take iRacing way too serious.
Everybody, all the low split guys, all the low iRating guys that when there's single splits and getting wrecks and we get upset, they always say that. Oh, you guys with high ratings just take it way too seriously. I mean, I've heard that so many times.
I will be the first person to tell you, I work for my mom and dad. I'm 22 years old. I live at home. iRacing is my life. Outside of that, I have no life. Because
you admit it openly.
I admit it openly. You can't use it against me because with my legs and my love for racing, the eNASCAR Coca-Cola Series is the one chance I have to be a pseudo NASCAR driver. So I'm putting my all into it, and I'm just lucky I've got parents who back me with that and who will support me to go after my dream. So I just wanted to say that I take it way too seriously, but
don't forget us here at the channel when you make that mark. All right,
I won't.
It's like you're who?
When you're an eNASCAR driver, you got to come back and
you got to come back.
Give us a little.
Put it in your contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put it in my contract. But going back, you don't focus on iRating. Just don't. Big turning point for me, and confidence. You got to have confidence in yourself. A huge turning point for me was Nashville Super Speedway. I live 15 minutes from the gate. Yeah. I grew up at that track. I cried when they closed it down when I was 11 years old, and I cried when they announced they were reopening it on June 6th of 2022 at 5:32.
So basically what you're saying is you cry a lot. That's what you're saying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I cry way too much. I cried after my B Open win at Nashville. I cried on stream. You can go look it up right now. I cried. That's just how much racing means to me.
Awesome.
He's
But
passionate for sure.
yeah, getting back on the subject. I'm sorry, I ramble too much.
That's okay. Before you get back on the subject,
Okay.
Cody, we're always trying to entertain our viewers if they're putting up live chat questions. I always tell them we'll get to you. Cody Trilindy's back at it again. He says, "Question for Tommy: What Buccaneers shirt are you wearing?"
I'm wearing an old Jameis Winston jersey, Cody. I'm a huge FSU guy, so I'm wearing a famous Jameis. Gotta rep the FSU alum.
There you go. All right, so getting back on track now.
Yeah, confidence is a big thing. Big turnaround happened for me in my iRating at Nashville when I won that B Open SOF. I put so much time into that. That was the first time I ever put 4-digit laps on a track of practice. I did over 1,000 laps there of practice to win that race because of how much Nashville means to me and only being 15 minutes from the track. And that gave me the confidence, like, if I put in the time, I can actually do this. It made me, like, I always project that confident guy who can't be beat. I always try to project that because in my head, if I project it, it means I can do it.
Sure.
But after that win, I actually started believing it. And before that is when I started taking the time to learn the sets and figure out what was going on. But after that, I had the confidence in myself that I could compete. And I just kept going and going. And then I would have a bad race and I'd be hard on myself. And Ty and David were like, Tommy, you've gained 600 iRating and you just lost 60. Like, you're 100% better than you were. You got to focus on that. And like Martinsville, like, I lost, going back to the iRating debacle, I was up to a 65-55 iRating. I had that one race where I got wrecked by a lap car. And I went down to a 6,300. I lost almost 200 iRating from it. I lost like 187. So from that one race, I'm in a 64.23. But you know what? I don't care about it because I'm still in second split for Road to Pro. You just have to know where you got to be and not care about it.
So I went through the same thing, and I want to kind of like not the 6,500 level, but like I remember when I first started racing for Rocket, whenever Lamb was with them. And I had a 3,000 iRating. And like the first time I dropped back below that, because I got wrecked out a few times, I was just mad and angry, about it. And
you were upset. A missile.
Yeah. But here recently, when I've been above, the first time I went above 4,000, I went up, got a couple hundred iRating cushion, and I went below, and I just got upset. Because I was trying so hard, like you, I got to beat a 5,000 4-rotor plus. Like, well, I got to get at 4,000. That's my goal, and I can't do it.
Yeah.
And when somebody would wipe me out, lap car or something, I get so angry and so mad, and I start yelling on the radio at him, like we're talking about in that segment before. And I just had a change of attitude, and like after I'd been below and above 4,000 4 or 5 times, and then at this last time I almost got to 5K. I was like one race away from 4,800. I was like 20 iRating away from 4,800. And I was like, man, and Dover was coming up, and that's like one of my best tracks, even though it's a wreck fest. I'm really fast there. And I was like, man, if I just have a good week at Dover, I'll hit 5K. That was my goal. And then from that point forward, I got wrecked a bunch. I got angry, and I dropped clear back down to like 3,900 within like 2 weeks. I got wrecked out so much because I was so upset and so serious in the races about it, like you're talking about. So now I'm like you. I don't even look at my iRating hardly ever anymore. I look at it, but it doesn't really. I just kind of let it go, and it's made me a lot calmer in races and really helped me out. Yeah.
I look at my iRating after every race. I'll still be upfront with that. I am obsessed I'm obsessed with my iRating.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
I want it to be as high as it possibly can be, but I don't let the drop affect me as bad or at all like I used to. That's what you got to.
That's fair enough.
You got to look back at March 10th. Okay. March 10th, I was a 61.82. But now on April 10th, I'm running in second split Road to Pro. I'm a 64.22. So I'm up 300. That one bad race, it set me back a week, but it's a week. I'm going to get it back. It's not knocked me out of a split of Road to Pro I need to be in. It's not dropped me down a license class. It'll come back. Yeah, it's frustrating how iRacing works, where you can gain 20, but you can lose 180 in one race.
It's crazy.
But that's just what we got to work with. You just can't let it get you down.
Now, not only are you running second split in Road to Pro, you're finishing top 5 in second split in Road to Pro. That's just insane.
Yeah, I more or less got lucky at Richmond to finish top 5. I had a top 7 to 10 truck, but top 5, I got lucky there.
Well, Tommy, I tell you, I appreciate you sharing that with everybody, because that's really the thing that everybody always wants to know how to get to the next level, right? So like all the time I give guys advice on how to get from, 1,000 or 1,500 to 2K or 2,500 to 3,000 or even 3,000 to 3,500. I can give them advice because I've done that, right? I've accomplished that. But getting from the 4,000 to 4,500 range up to like 6.5K like you are, I can't help anybody because I haven't done it yet myself. So how can I give anybody advice? So I appreciate you coming on and having this segment, because that's some advice that we all need, that I need to look in the mirror at, right? And I need help with, and I think that's very valuable, because there's a lot of, I read somewhere, and I was talking to somebody a couple podcasts ago about how, or maybe it was last week, of Mike Willett, that, the above 3,000 it's above 3,500. So Division 1 is like the top 5% or top 3% of all iRacers, right? In any given series. So we're already in like the best of the best. Like we are the best, right? Like, like if you're a Division 1 driver, you're the best in iRacing. But now you're talking about being the best of the best. And that's a whole other leap. And I think guys are always looking around at guys. There's a lot of us sitting around 4K that we race a lot of times together, and we're just looking around, how do we get better? On this team, we talk about it. We run laps together, and we're like, how are we going to get better? So I really appreciate you taking the time and caring to tell our viewers and like talk about that, how you get that extra, how do you become the best of the best?
One piece of advice that I contorted when it was told to me by Garrett Mashburn, he's the one who told me this: finish where you can. In my mind, I took that as finish at your car number, anything above that's gravy. No, just finish where you can. If you got a 10th place car and you're going to lose 25 iRating, that's fine. Take the 25 loss. Don't junk yourself and lose 100 trying to get to 9th.
That's hard to swallow, but I've been trying to do that myself. Anyway, go ahead,
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I've heard that before. I actually heard it from Terry Labonte. He said he's running second, and there's no way that he could win, so he wasn't go out there trash second, and go home on the trailer, right? So yeah, I've heard that before. And Garrett, he's real knowledgeable, and that's some great advice too on him on his part. So yeah, good for you, man. We're pleased. I'm happy for you, dude. I really am.
I appreciate it.
Hey, Tommy, I had Cody Tronda. He's still in the chat there, and he actually did some work for me. Appreciate it, Cody. I'm going to shout you out for that. We're talking about what iRating level puts you in what percentage of all iRacers and oval, or whatever you're in, whatever license you're in. This is what Cody said. He just looked it up, and he said 6,500 iRating, which is about where Tommy's at, puts you in the top 0.1%. 0.1% of all oval. Well, yeah, it puts you in the top 1/10% of all oval iRacers on the entire service. So yeah, we're definitely talking about being the best of the best of the best. I mean, it's. Yeah.
I want to take a second, and I want to say, Cody, my man, you have impressed me so much. Like, yeah, I'm with Pay to Win. You're with Ryko. We got that little bit of button heads there, and we even talk about that in races. But my man, you have improved so much. Like, I'm not trying to sound cocky, but I do think over the last 6 months, I am someone on the sim who's improved more than anybody. But you're right there with me. Like, any given week, me and you are bouncing between the 1 and 2 car and SOF races.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, that's insane, because I remember back in the summer, me and you were both like 5,700 iRating, 56, going back and forth between there. So I just wanted to take that moment and say, Cody, you are the dude. You're killing it.
Yeah, Ken Byron talks really high about him. I know his name was brought up when we had Ken on the broadcast too. So yeah, you guys are good company for sure.
I love racing with Cody, man. He's fun on the radio. We joke and laugh. And my problem is I like to I like to race late at night when my kids are in bed. And I love those like 10 o'clock races, midnight races, and I'm always hoping I can get a win in there. Because a lot of times I think the field's a little bit lower than like 8 and 10. And I'm like all happy. And all of a sudden Cody registers at the last minute. And now you get on the radio. I'm like, I even tell him to get in the race. I'm like, daggone it, Cody. I was wanting to win this race. Why'd you have to register for it?
Yeah, Cody doing the sniping off the UI. I see how he goes.
Yeah. He says, yeah, Cody said, thanks, Tommy. He appreciates the kind words for him. Anybody else got anything you want to hit up Tommy with before we leave? Brian, Robert, me and Tracy both had a round at him. You guys got anything you want to ask him or say to him before we end the podcast tonight?
I would like to say that helping out drivers that aren't quite where you're at, that says a lot. That's good. I'm glad you do that. I try to help people out too. I'm not the greatest in the world, but Mike knows this. I've helped people out too in the past, help them get a little bit better. So,
I wanna-
anything we can learn from you guys, it's great.
I want to ask you a question, Brian. Since I've heard you talk, it has bothered me. Are you from West Virginia or Eastern Kentucky?
No, I'm from Northeast or East Tennessee.
Well,
I've recently moved from Virginia, so yeah, I heard you were from Tennessee.
Yeah, he's from
We're pretty
Virginia
close.
originally.
I got the Tennessee accent.
the reason I say that is you sound exactly like my uncle. My family is from West Virginia. I knew Brian was somewhere from Appalachia. That accent is unmistakable, and I love it.
No, yeah, it is unmistakable.
I've got a
Yeah.
bad
My grandpa was in the
Good
Air
one.
Force. My grandpa was in the Air Force. So my mom was born in Paris and she was raised in France for the first 6 years of her life. So she doesn't have it. But my uncle was born in West Virginia and he has got it.
But anyway, if you have not done so yet, and you guys are still with us on the stream, we appreciate if you subscribe. You're gonna hit that subscribe button. Also, there is a bell icon down there you can hit, and you'll get notified anytime that we put up new content on the channel, whether it's a live stream, the podcast, some of the great on-demand content that me and Tracy's been putting out for driver development, for setups, all kind of stuff, how-to videos. Just hit that bell icon to get notified when we do anything here. But if you really, really want to help the channel, the best thing you can do is share our videos, share our content, get it out in front of as many people as possible. It's greatly appreciated. And down below in the description for you guys, there's some affiliate codes and some promo codes down there. If you guys save you guys some money buying sets, and there's also an affiliate code there for us for Major's Garage. We get a small commission, but it doesn't cost you anything. If you guys are anybody's a setup shop owner watching this, or anybody that sells anything to iRacers, and you want to provide us provide us with a small discount code, like 10% or something to our viewers and subscribers, that would be much appreciated. We're just trying to help everybody out, and that would help out not us, but it would help out all of our subscribers. That's what we're trying to do here. So get in contact with us, and we will definitely work something out if you want to do that. For myself, we got Tommy Gossett, the Admiral, Tracy Rumschlad, Brian Stewart.
I do want to say, if I can interject real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Be sure you subscribe so when y'all do the Be Open SOF tomorrow night, you can watch me wax Cody.
That's right.
We'll be there. We'll be there.
Oh, Throwdown is here.
Cody's
heard it here first.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be there.
Cody's been trolling your chat. You need to troll him on the racetrack.
Yeah.
So yeah, tomorrow night. Thanks for bringing that up though. Tomorrow night, Robert and I plan on doing a live broadcast of the high strength of field race. So tune in for that 8 p.m. Tomorrow night. You're gonna have me and Robert on commentary. Robert's our caller commentator, and I try to keep it as straight as possible, but I joke around a lot too. You'll have Tommy and his button. Tommy, give that button one more play before we end the podcast.
All right, let's hit it.
All right, that'll close us out. Hey, for me and everybody here, all the crew that's with us tonight, we appreciate it, and appreciate y'all for tuning in. And as always, we will see you in the next one.